So today I'm doing a review that's been quite some time in the making. About 6 months ago, Sutefoto reached out to me and asked if I wanted to review their TP25 RGB tube lights, which I said, hell yeah, I definitely do. I'm a big fan of the Nanlite Pavo tubes, but I only have the 30cm ones and I wanted some bigger ones. And Nanlite wouldn't give me any, but Sutefoto did. So here we are today doing the review after 6 months of use. Let's do a quick spec breakdown. Let's start with build quality. Very nice polycarbonate tube. It is plastic. It does maybe squeaks a little bit sometimes, but haven't managed to break it yet. We have a hard on-off switch at the top. We also have aluminium end caps with vent holes on both ends, and both ends have a 1/4-20 for the little supplied tripod. Can't really talk too much more about the build quality. All the buttons click and move very nicely and are very easy and intuitive to work. I never had any problems with anything not working on it. So of course it has a built-in battery, 3000 milliamp hour battery. Oh, 3000 milliamp hours, that's so small. I hear you screaming. That's at 15 volts. If you don't know your maths, volts times by amps equals something. I don't really know either, to be honest. I'm not very clever at stuff like that, but I do know that you times it by 3. So it's a 10,000 milliamp hour battery for USB 5 volt equivalent. Because of this, because it's a big battery, it also has a DC charging port. It does not have USB-C charging capabilities. This may seem like a downside. It's not actually a downside because I can also use that to charge my VMount batteries with an adapter, and it charges this really quick. It's a 15 volt power brick with 4 amps output. So that's a hell of a power brick for a light anyway. So it charges it in 2 hours from empty to full. Longevity, it's rated for 3 hours at 50%. And of course, 1.5 hours at 100%. In my experience, I don't run this anywhere near full power. I run it much lower, and it can last on 5% as like a little background light, or even as an ambient light. In my office, I use it sometimes. It lasts for days on 3, 4, 5%. It'll go for days. So internally, we have 246 LEDs in 5 groups. Each group has a total output of 25 watt. It has wireless with 12 channels in 6 groups, and they automatically communicate with each other. Not automatically, got to set the group obviously, but out of the box, they did do it automatically. When I turn this on, it will come on, and when I change the color, number 2 back here will change his color, which is so useful. This is also the same Bluetooth chip that is in a couple of other lights I've got. So when I adjust this light, I can actually adjust other branded lights at the same time, which is random but really, really cool. And all these are controlled over the SSLED app, if you're familiar with this. If not, I'm going to do a quick breakdown of the app in a minute. It weighs 670 grams. It is 75 centimeters long with a 62 centimeter total LED illumination area. We have a TCLI of over 95 and a CRI of over 96. HSI has 360 degrees with 0 to 100% illumination and saturation adjustments. And we also have 10 FX modes. Each one of those FX modes has 10 frequencies. It comes supplied with a nice little carry bag, which unfortunately doesn't fit the tripod in it when it's on, and it also doesn't really fit when it's off. You can't really fit it in next to it like this either. So that is a bit of a downside, but it's really cool this is included. Of course, your charging brick and a little manual. So I found one thing that failed on these lights for me was there's no magnetic attachment. This top plate doesn't have a magnet, the bottom doesn't have a magnet. So I also 3D printed myself. The idea was to finally incorporate magnets into this. I never actually did it. A horizontal mount that you can screw onto a light stand. If my 3D printed thread works. Sounded like it didn't. Sounded like it cracked it. Then you can slide it up. Tighten the knob down, and you've got it in a horizontal format. Just one little addition I did. The STL file for this is in the description below, as well as the link to the website where you can find all the information out about these lights. So let's jump in and have a quick look at the SSLED app. As you can see on the home screen, we've got the 2 lights. We come into CCT mode. We got intensity, color, temperature, and green magenta compensation, which is nice. HSI, of course, we have a nice finger wheel. You can scroll around and the light instantly changes. It's really easy to work with. The RGB CW I never use because it just seems like a less intuitive version of HSI. And of course the FX, where you can change frequency and intensity. When would you use these lights? What do you need these lights for? Super compact, super light, and easy to take with you. They also offer a very good diffuse light. If I go back to CT mode, let's go up to 50 or 5000 Kelvin. at 12%. As you can see, at 12%, it's already very bright. And I'm going to do a test. So I've just turned off my big overhead light, which is a Nanlite Lumipad behind a meter umbrella. So very, very soft light, 2 times diffusion. I'm going to hold this here instead. Now, obviously, it's not going to be as soft, but as you can probably see, like, it's well usable as a key light, and that's on 12% right now. It also works nicely as a little backlight. You know, you can strap it in here and pretend that the window's open. So I really like these because, like I said, you can put them places. You can stand them behind a sofa and give a little light out the back of somewhere. They also look really cool when they're in shot. If you've got like a diffusion filter or something, which I think there is a diffusion filter on this lens right now. So very bright output, very useful, very convenient, very lightweight. I'm a massive fan of basically everything these lights have to offer, except for one thing. It's quite a big thing. I mean, it's not really. It's on the low intensity side of HSI. I'll show you what I mean. The HSI colors fall apart when you come down luminosity levels. So it's going to be hard to see because it's just going to clip the whole time. Let me see how I can do this. Okay, I'm going to darken my filter right down. Okay. So when I'm at, this is now 30% brightness. When I roll the scale to adjust the colors, every single click of the dial, yeah, there. It jumps. The colors jump. There. Do you see it jump? It sort of jumps to red and then it'll wind down and it'll jump to yellow. And on 100% intensity, it won't do this because all the lights are at full power, so all the LEDs are in use. And with this, it can blend through the colors really nicely, but often you'll find something like, okay, like I want this dark, intense blue. I come down the brightness, and as I come down, at some point, it'll turn off one of the LED bands, and it'll turn the light to purple. Okay, that was the worst example ever. Let's put it on pink and turn it up. It's hard for you to see it on the camera. Basically, like if you're under 10% intensity, you've only got kind of like 15 colors, not 360. Does that make sense? It's not really a problem unless you're trying to match with another light that needs a specific color. Again, how accurate those 360s are between brands, I don't know. Let me turn the filter back up. But yeah, it's one thing that does frustrate me a little bit with it. But for what they cost, you get some Westcots for €1,000 each. That's fine. They're not going to do that. These are €100 each. I think for the price, they're really, really good. So now let's run through a few situations when I use these lights and how I set them up. So in this shot, I added a 120mm softbox to replicate the outside daylight coming through this window. But in the back, it was a little sterile on the left side. So I wanted to add a nice orange backlight. So I put this thing down on the floor, just literally threw it on the floor, bounce it up at the wall to give this nice orange teal effect without having to actually use any orange teal LUTs. We kept, of course, the nice dark side down here. For this shot, we were outside. We had a lot of specular highlights that I was trying to balance. I was using, again, the same 120mm softbox with my LS300, full power into this guy's face, and using the Sutefoto on the back to just give a little soft edge lighting across him. We had nice dark background, so this was just highlighting his key features. Came out really nicely. With this shot, it was a very dark little workshop room for this forestry worker guy who I was interviewing. I wanted to make the background more interesting, so I used the 2 Sutefos on the back and of course the same 120mm box on the front. We managed to hide these behind a chainsaw on the left side, which gave some really nice kind of shadows up on the wall, and on the right side it was behind something else behind this vise. So I film with these lights every single week with my girlfriend here. She's a yoga teacher. We keep them both in shot. They are 2800 at 10%. And my camera is an FX30 Sigma 16mm 1.4 wide open at ISO 800 and S-Log3. So this gives you some idea of how well they can illuminate an entire room at just 10%. So I hope you like the review and the lights themselves. I think they're really cool. I think for the money and the price point, they are on point. I can't find anything else that covers these features, especially with the cool wireless, that can be bought for the same price. Their little downside with the LED color inaccuracy and HSI at low intensities is quite a specific thing. Do you really need 360 colors at lower levels? Not really. Like, you know, 20 is okay. And above 30%, it's completely fine. So if you're running full power, you don't need to worry about it. You've got all your colors there. One thing I will add is they do match together, so that when one jumps to the next color, the other one will also jump. So they're never mismatched. They're just maybe not, you can't get the exact color you want every single time at low intensities. But overall, wicked liked. Hope you liked the review. See you in the next one. Pow!